Hello, I'm Dr. Annie Wren, a psychologist at University of Oklahoma Counseling Center. This video about radical acceptance is part of our series called Feel Better Fast, based on our live workshops of the same name. Sometimes your problems have practical solutions, but sometimes they don't. Some things there's nothing you can do to change. Radical acceptance is a skill to use when there's nothing you can do to change the external situation, and focuses on changing the internal landscape of your mind. It could be that you have to do an assignment you don't really enjoy. Or maybe you're ruminating about a past event, unable to get over the fact that it happened, and being angry about not being able to change the past. Radical acceptance means fully accepting our reality. Accepting reality is the first step to letting go of that bitterness. What has happened, and there's nothing we can do about that. We can only change whether we choose to respond with negative emotions or not. Denying what's happened, continuing to try to fight against something we can't change, are ways that we resist reality instead of accepting it. Radical acceptance is about accepting that reality is what it is. Say you buy a house and it's your dream house except for the fact that the outside is painted orange and black. You sign a contract saying that you agree on their price for the house if they promise to paint it a different color before giving you the keys. Then on moving day, they drop the keys in your mailbox without seeing you, move to another state, and completely ghost you. You have a few choices here. You can sit on the porch and scream at the orange and black paint for a few hours about how unfair this is. And you may be factually correct about what's right and wrong about the situation. But screaming doesn't change the color of your house. That's resisting reality. Another example would be to hire a private investigator to try to track down the previous owner, then hire a lawyer to sue them into painting the house for you. That would also be fighting reality rather than accepting it. Some situations are the right time to fight, but in this situation, you'd spend more money hiring a PI and lawyer than you'd spend hiring a painter to simply paint the house to the color you want. And that action would change the color of your house faster than it would take to try to track down the former owner. But in order to do the latter, you need to stop fighting reality first and accept what's happening before you can move on to the most effective solution. A more simplified way of understanding radical acceptance is this. It's raining and you forgot your umbrella, so you have two choices. You can scrunch up, scowl, and as hard as you can and stomp your way from one class to the next. But does scrunching, scowling, and stomping keep you more dry? It isn't a solution to the problem, it's just resisting the rain, and resisting the reality that there's nothing you can do about the rain. But if you radically accept that 1, it's raining, and 2, you're going to get wet no matter what, then you can keep your head high, your shoulders back, and walk with a normal posture to your next class without stomping all the way there. You'll be the same amount of wet when you get there, but the second option will waste less of your energy, and you'll probably be in a slightly better mood when you get there because you've kept an open posture instead of a resistant one. Here are some things that radical acceptance is not. Radical acceptance is not approval. Sometimes politicians or people in positions of authority may make decisions that you don't like. Using radical acceptance is not the same as sitting down and taking it silently. It means you set aside time for your activism, and outside of that designated time, you accept that you can't right all the wrongs in the world, and you accept that you can live a meaningful life despite the parts of the world you can't change. Radical acceptance does not mean forgiveness. If someone you care about has abused you, they don't always deserve your forgiveness. You don't have to take them back into your lives. Radical acceptance only means that the past is what it is, and you're going to live forward and move forward instead of staying stuck on fighting your past. Radical acceptance also doesn't mean passivity. When you can solve your problems, do. When you can't, or you have to save your solutions for a later time to implement, then you can use radical acceptance. So I'm going to break radical acceptance into many steps, but once you've practiced this a few times, you don't have to memorize these steps or do them in a certain order in order to adopt this mindset and general attitude towards life. Step 1, state the reality. Describe what's happening using objective, neutral terms. Focus on the senses if you can, only what you can see, hear, and touch. The opposite of using your senses to describe reality would be assuming that you know what someone is thinking about you. That would be something that can't be observed with the senses. Using neutral terms means not saying I have to do this dumb homework assignment or my to-do list is like a mountain. Instead, say something like I have an algebra assignment or my to-do list seems to have 10 hours worth of tasks and I have 5 hours worth of time. The first step is to state the reality without putting judgment labels on it. That's why radical acceptance is called radical. Normally, we walk around with a lot of judgments in our minds. Sunshine is good, rain is bad, or the reverse if you happen to like rain. So it's a radical concept to stop labeling things as good or bad and just accept that it's happening. Step 2 to radical acceptance is to observe your bodily sensations and let them be. You can say, I'm sweaty, or my stomach is growling. Just acknowledge the bodily sensations for what they are without putting judgment labels on them. Step 3 is to do the same with the emotions you feel. Oh, there's anger. And that one's sadness. It's there. Let it be there. Don't judge it by saying it should or shouldn't be there. Just let it be and state what it is without judgment. Some bodily sensations and some emotional experiences are uncomfortable. We can fight them or we can accept them. We can be hungry and be angry that we're hungry, or we can be just hungry. Either way, you have to live with that hunger until class is over, but you might as well not layer the anger on top of it. That's the difference between what we call clean pain and dirty pain. Clean pain is a natural part of life. If you come close to getting in a car accident, and then you find yourself sweating and shaking, that's a normal human response and it's part of life. It means your limbic system is functioning properly. That's clean pain. But if you get angry at your bodily sensations or emotions, you're adding dirty pain on top of clean pain. Dirty pain is what we create by resisting that the clean pain is there instead of accepting it. So you can feel 2 types of pain, which is doubly painful, or you can use radical acceptance towards the clean pain in your life and releases you from having to feel the dirty pain on top of it. If you're having a panic attack, then get angry at yourself for having a panic attack. The anger towards yourself is dirty pain. The panic attack is what it is, and it may not make sense or be effective to try to stop the panic attack sometimes. It's certainly not effective to try to fight a panic attack with anger. Life comes with enough clean pain as it is, so none of us needs to add to the pain by creating dirty pain on top of it. Accept the clean pain and don't create dirty pain. Step 4 is half smile. The muscles in the face communicate to the emotional part of the brain and vice versa. Just like relaxing your posture will help you feel more emotionally relaxed, compared with clenching your jaw or clenching your fists, using a half smile will make you feel more serene. This is different from a full smile because it doesn't have to actually look like a smile. You're not putting on a happy mask to convince other people of anything. You're just letting your own facial muscles send a subtle message to your own brain. Just turn the corners of your mouth up slightly while keeping the jaw relaxed like this. As you can see, the half smile is only one step off from a neutral face. It's a skill that you can use during a class you don't like and no one will know. Step 5 is willing hands. You want your palms facing up and then put your hands in your lap so that doing this doesn't have to be noticeable either. You're using your posture to communicate to your brain that you're open to whatever life brings and you're accepting it serenely with an open posture instead of resisting reality with a closed posture. Step 6 is to take a mantra that's easy for you to remember and say it to yourself to remind yourself to radically accept something. Some examples of mantras include reality just is, or it is what it is. These things do happen. Some people like the mantra, everything happens for a reason. You can use that one if it doesn't make you start questioning what the reason is, because that's not the point here. If you can trust that there's a reason without questioning it, then you can use that mantra. Another good one is every day is a neutral day, or even every hour is a neutral hour. What that means is that no day is born good or born bad. Every day is inherently a neutral day, and so is every hour. Just because you wake up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning doesn't mean all the other hours are born bad. Each hour is a new hour that doesn't have to be affected by your emotions from the other hours. Each day in the week isn't affected by the previous day if you don't let it. So find a mantra that gives you the most neutral feelings and use it. Step 7 is to acknowledge that life is worth living even in the presence of pain. If you sprain your ankle, you can choose to stay on the couch and cry about how you can't play soccer anymore. Or you can lie in bed and think about nothing except how badly it hurts. Alternatively, you can find a sedentary activity you might enjoy, such as drawing, and try to do it. Even though your ankle hurts, you can choose to do something else while it's still hurting. Even though the pain's on your mind, at least there's a positive thing on your mind too, which is drawing, instead of having only negative thoughts and only the pain to fill your mind with. If you have $20 and someone steals 10, you're not going to refuse to spend the $10 you have left just because it's not fair that you don't have 20 anymore. Yet, we often do this with our time and our emotions. Instead of dwelling on what's bad about a situation, ask yourself what parts you can control, what good you can make with those parts. The 8th and final step is to turn your mind back to acceptance over and over again. Learning a new skill takes time. Thinking in a new way or adopting a new attitude takes time. So when you start learning radical acceptance, expect to slip up, sometimes every 5 minutes, sometimes every single minute. But if you can spend even half of each minute in acceptance, for every half minute you spend resisting reality in the old way, that's still 50% of the time that you don't spend feeling so badly as if you didn't try. Even a little progress is better than zero. Be patient with yourself and radically accept the fact that you'll have to turn your mind over and over again towards a new way of thinking about things. I hope you've learned what you needed from this video. Click subscribe to get notifications when new videos come out. During the school year, we have Feel Better Fast workshops. Follow us on social media to get updates on dates and times, or call 405-325-2911 to sign up for workshops that are happening now.